I actually have family from Texas. My granddaddy's a native Texan, and the part of Texas I'd been to was called Lubbock, which is up in the Panhandle. And then my mission was more in central Texas, so it was San Antonio, and then up the capital of Texas, Austin, was like the top part of the mission, and the bottom part was down on the west border of Texas. So we had Del Rio and Eagle Pass, and Lubbock is super different from San Antonio and Austin. It's very green in central Texas, surprisingly so, and there's tons of trees. There's way more trees than there are in Utah, and Lubbock is like kind of the dusty part of Texas that most people would imagine. I mean, there's not like saloons and tumbleweeds, but it's more that kind of feeling. And so I remembered when I had opened my call that that's what I thought it was going to be like. And that's all I had in my mind. That and the Alamo, because the Alamo was in my mission. And so when we got there, I remembered landing and getting off the plane. And it was February 19th when we got there. And it was hot. And it was very humid. And my hair immediately was just, I was like, oh, okay. I can do this for 18 months. But it was very warm. And I was shocked that it looked the way it did, that there weren't like bar fights going on and people doing draw out in the middle of the street. Like, it was very naive. I remember my mission president, actually, he and his wife came to meet us, and he took us out to load us up on one of the big vans that they had. And he turned to me and my companion and he said, Sister Montclair, Sister Turpin, would you like to ride with me and my wife? And we were like, sweet, how did we score this? And I remembered as we drove away, I was just looking at everything going, hey, look, they have Home Depot. Look, it's Olive Garden. And I was just so excited. And my companion was like, Sister, we're in America still. We're not in Mexico. But I was just surprised at how normal everything felt. But at the same time, that almost made me a little homesick. I never really got homesick, but just the similarities and everything was like, oh, I thought it was going to be so much more different. But it was a great first day. So the district segments, the first one is shot in the San Antonio mission. And so they go immediately to the Alamo and they start handing out copies of the Book of Mormon. And that was exactly what we did. Well, I mean, we didn't go immediately there. We went and stopped at the mission home, and we had lunch, and they talked to us and made us feel nice. And then they took us and threw us to the sharks. And there was like nobody there because it was February and it was cold for Texas. For Texans, they would be cold. For the rest of us who just got dumped into this state, we were like tearing our coats off. We're on fire. There weren't that many people there, so it was kind of awkward because you'd try and hand someone a Book of Mormon and they're like, oh, I have one. And we're like, oh, sorry. Sorry for attacking you for the 10th time. We don't really know what we're doing. But it was really neat because there's a story that goes along with Alamo, and I don't remember it perfectly, but one of the generals or captains or whatever his title was, at the Alamo right before the fight, he drew a line in the sand and he said, if you come over this line, you stay and you fight with us, you stay or you go, and we're not going to be mad at you if you go. But when you come over this line, there's no turning back. And so the assistants took us to that spot. On the ground, there's like this gold line in the ground. And they read us that story. And then they said, what about you, elders and sisters? And I remember thinking, yeah, I'm in. And I walked over that line, and I thought in that moment that I walked completely over the line, when really I could tell you later in my mission is when I truly was all in. But that was a phrase we had in our mission, all in. And that was made very clear to us from the very first point. We love you and we trust you, and we want you to be all in. Even from day one at that Alamo. And even though we didn't know what we were doing, we were loved and we were trusted.